Hello and welcome back to Learn Python, your first step to data science. In this new chapter, we're looking at exploratory data analysis in Python. And in this video, our main focus is data structures and scientific libraries for data manipulation. Let's dive right in. So I'm back in my Jupyter Notebook, and I've navigated to chapter 3.ipynb, and that's a file located in the accompanying code files that come with this course. The first data structure that I'm going to introduce you to is the pandas series. So the pandas series is one of the most simple data structures you can use in Python, and it's basically a one-dimensional or row of data. The fundamental call for a pandas series is very simple. Here, if we look at the boxed area of the notebook, we can see that S equals pd.series, which is the constructor for the series data structure. The first argument into this creator or constructor is the data that we need. This data can be a list, can be a string, can be an integer, can be a float, can also be a set or any other Python data structure. Usually most of the Python data structures, apart from classes and objects, will fit into a pandas series. The second argument, which is a named argument, is the index. And the index is basically a label of your data, right? So we're indexing our data, or kind of giving our data, each datum in our series, sort of a name, and that's the index. So how do we actually use this in practice? In in2, what we're observing here is we're creating a new series. We call pd.series, and in the data slot, we're giving an argument of a random number, 5 random numbers. To generate these 5 random numbers, we're calling numpy dot or np dot random dot randn, which generates n random numbers, where here we're specifying as 5 random numbers. In the second argument, in a named argument index, we're supplying a list of 5 characters, of 5 items, where each corresponds to the index or the label of that data point. If we want to inspect the index of a particular pandas series, we can do that. In in3, we're creating the same series that we've created in in2, and by calling and putting this created series into S, we can then call s.index to put this and retrieve the index object of the series S. In out3, we can see that the index is basically what we've fed in to the series constructor, but it has a type of index, which is a pandas object. And within that index, there's a data type called objects, right? We don't always need to supply an indexing information. If we don't supply indexing information, pandas automatically indexes the series for us. In in4, we're simply creating a series that has 5 random numbers generated by NP. Here we can see that the pandas series, if we compare to the one earlier above, we can see that in out4, the series index is automatically numbered from 0 to 4, whereas in out2, we have created an index manually that ranges from A to E. As I've mentioned before, we don't need to feed in a list into pandas to create a series. We can at the same time feed in a dictionary. In in5, we can see that we're feeding in a dictionary into the pandas series, and what's happening here is we are creating a series where the index comes from the keys of the dictionary, and the values of the series comes from the values of the dictionary. If we then supply a named index, again of a list of characters, we're actually going to pick and choose the key value pairs in the dictionary. In in6, we see this in action. we first call the pandas.series constructor, feeding in a dictionary of 3 items. The key B gives you a value of 331, A, 124, C, 278. We then supply this series with an index that has 4 items, B, C, D, A. As you can see, what's happening here is pandas first takes the index and create the series. So the series first begins with B, C, D, A as a order, and it then looks at the data to find out what the value should be of each index, which is why the order of the series is slightly different from the order of the series in OUT5. What's also worth mentioning is we can create an index where one or more of the data points or the elements in the index doesn't actually have a corresponding value in the data dictionary. And so here the issue here is we have D at row 3 where it's not a number. So Pandas is very robust and can handle issues like this, no problem. Sometimes we just want a series that consists of a constant value repeated down the series. In In7, this is exactly what's happening. We're creating a series where there's a constant value of 42, indexed across 5 data points, which again supply an index from A to E. And in In9, we're creating 2 series wrapped in a set. And you can see that the series can actually be wrapped in something hashable like a set. And that's all there is to it. Now that we're familiar with data structures, in the next video we're going to talk about data cleaning with pandas and lambdas. I'll see you guys next time.